Good evening. What would you do on the day you were told you only had a few months to live? What if you were in constant pain? What if your last days consisted of being fed by a tube and not being able to control your bowel movements? What if there was a way to let you die peacefully on your own terms rather than suffering for months or even years? I believe that I should be able to ultimately make the decision on how I would like to spend the last hours on this earth. I believe patients should be able to receive medication from qualified medical professionals to subside their pain and suffering, and which will ultimately shorten the time that they have left on earth. I have watched countless family members and friends be in this predicament before, and they were not able to do anything but sit and wait. That's why I believe physician-assisted suicide should be legal in the United States. Now I'll explain why physician-assisted suicide should be legal in all states. Right now, there are currently 10 jurisdictions where physician-assisted suicide is legal. California, Colorado, District of Columbia, Hawaii, Montana, Maine, New Jersey, Oregon, Vermont, and Washington. This legalized practice has not increased the rate of death by a significant number. According to the National Library of Medicine, there are numerous amounts of tests that must be done before physician-assisted suicide can be executed. Many things need to be considered. Before a physician can assist in a patient's early death, they'll need to be diagnosed by at least 2 qualified physicians, and this will help to diagnose them and know that they for sure, have a terminal illness, and they just don't want to go away and end their life. But also psychoanalysis shall be performed on the patient to make sure they're not crazy. And there will be a waiting period between the patient applying for physician-assisted suicide and the actual procedure. And this will allow the patient to make sure that he or she really want to go through with this. Physician-assisted suicide can alleviate pain to those who are suffering from any terminal illness like dementia, Lou Gehrig's disease, pancreatic cancer, anything that ultimately will end someone's life, and there's nothing that you could do about it. But what happens when your pet is diagnosed with a terminal illness and the vet and you decide that there's nothing really you can do? You could either end his life by putting him to sleep or giving him an injection, or you could just let him suffer the rest of the days of his or her life. Excuse me. I think anyone that is suffering from a terminal illness should have the right to die in a peaceful and exulting way. Organs from these people can be, who no longer want to live, can be salvaged and reused for someone that is not terminally ill and have a chance of recovering. But if someone wants to die and can pick when they want to die, it will save loved ones and family members a lot of grief. It will give family members the opportunity to say goodbye, and they could also expect a death from coming. In turn, family members would be happier to know that their family member is no longer suffering and in pain. There are so many reasons I believe people are against physician-assisted suicide, and these could be they're against many people's religious beliefs. Many people also have many people also believe that opening the opportunity for physician-assisted suicide will open the gates for others that aren't as terminally ill to have assisted suicide performed. Like I said prior, there would be many guidelines and tests to be performed so that abuse of assisted suicide would not and could not be possible. With all all the loss that I have had in my years living, the people I know who have died from terminal illness, suffered and died in a very painful way. Sometimes it took months to even years for these people to pass. This practice of physician-assisted suicide is becoming more and more popular every day, and more states are voting for it or getting it in their ballots. And according to a study from the Yale Journal of Biology and Medicine, surveys were sent to 1,000 random chosen physicians. They were asked whether they thought physician-assisted suicide should be legal, and 60% of physicians thought it should be. Approximately 86% of you guys, my class, believed physician-assisted suicide should be legal. Well, 100% of you, believe that you have the right to refuse life-saving care if you are terminal. To me, why is it morally right to refuse life-saving care while you are suffering and in pain, rather than having a lethal injection shot that can ease the pain and suffering? Many people argue that physician-assisted suicide is not letting someone die naturally, however, are taking numerous medications during treatment to stay alive much longer, or much more natural than that, though. I didn't think so. But now, what if there was no medication or treatment to save your life? I believe that medical professionals should be able to make you comfortable and happy during your last days. People that suffer from terminal illness should be able to decide their own fate. As Americans who were brought up on the statutes of liberty, how can we look at someone who is slowly dying, losing their mind, and think it's all right to not give them peace in death, while they're actually pleading for it? But now, just think again, okay? You were lying in a hospital bed, hooked up to a feeding tube. You couldn't wait to use the bathroom, so you are now lying in a bed with your own feces on it. You have to wait for the next hour for the next nurse to make her round to your room. You're waiting there, slowly and painfully, for your own death. If the overall outcome is death, why not end it under your own terms, peacefully and innocently? For this, physician-assisted suicide should be legalized in all 50 states. Thank you.